Do me a favor and watch this video.
High self-esteem men do not enjoy any form of kind of pushback and aggression and that they just don't like that crazy toxic cycle at all. Low self-esteem men see toxicity as a signal that she's attached to him rather than a signal that her mental health is unstable. They see her overreacting to you liking a picture, or her overreacting to you to go, see your ex-wife with the kids, or her overreactions as, oh, she must really love me, rather than a reaction to show that she is unstable and she's found a man that tolerates instability.
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much that is true, but she does miss something, And that's not just the idea of low self-esteem and high self-esteem. That's the idea of what leads to low self-esteem or what leads to high self-esteem. Because this attitude is not just found amongst men. Women also do this. Yes, culturally speaking, it's more encouraged that men should tolerate such bad behavior from women more than the opposite. And you can see so in Hollywood and by what people normalize, especially when it comes to abuse, like women hitting men and nagging men, belittling them and emasculating them in public. All those things are hyper enhanced by society in order to make sure that men are subdued. And the way to subdue men is to use women. Because to them, a subdued man is not going to protest. It's not going to riot. It's not going to do any of these things that you would expect a man that thinks for himself and a man that has some level of self-dignity would do. Because again, he's subdued. And so the system tries to use women to do so. But that aside, the issue of low self-esteem has to do with you being subdued as a man and how you were conditioned from a very young age by your mother or by the women in your life, especially if she's a single mother, and how these women pretty much indoctrinate you and how social media indoctrinates you and how mainstream media indoctrinates you and how the surrounding around you indoctrinates you to behave when you're with women. And that is to hide your penis. Now, the men that don't care, even though they were brought up in that situation, are not going to follow those rules. So it's not necessarily about being a high self-esteem guy, because you're not a high self-esteem guy unless you have either ignored the conditioning of your society or have been raised to ignore the condition of society, let's say by a strong male figure, or even by a mother that doesn't see feminism as the way to go. Because it's how you're conditioned as a child. That is pretty much what determines how you're going to grow. Now, you might rebel and you might be like, no, I'm not allowing this woman to put her hands on me just because my mother said that I should never hit a woman back. And if you decide to do that, then the conditioning doesn't really take its place, no matter how much you'll be conditioned. But the reason why we have so many low self-esteem men or so many men that don't see boundaries when it comes to themselves and allow women to just walk all over them and cross their boundary and be the crazy girlfriend is because they have been conditioned to do so. It's not natural. Yes, men have a natural weakness towards women, but that doesn't imply that men would naturally tolerate a woman putting her hands on them. Men naturally would not tolerate abuse. Nobody naturally will, especially if you can do something about it. Okay? All that is a form of conditioning. So the main problem is not whether you are low self-esteem or high self-esteem. The main problem is how conditioned are you by society. How many movies where you watch a woman slapping a man on the face and it's now showcased as comedy or it's funny? How many movies like this would you watch? You start thinking that it's natural and it's normal for women to do such a thing. That is the question. So the question is, how do you overcome your conditioning? If you're a man that is used to not having boundaries, how do you condition yourself to have boundaries so that women don't just do whatever they want to do to you because they think that you are a pushover and they gloat in the fact that they can take advantage of you physically and emotionally, especially when it comes to finances. Because unless you decondition yourself, you're not going to have any high self-esteem. High self-esteem comes with confidence. Confidence comes with the knowledge of your worth and your competence and the characteristics that have allowed you to be successful. All those things are what leads to your sense of security. And when you have a high sense of security, you're not going to tolerate fuckery. Anyway, guys, that's what I got to say today, and I will see you later.